In this video, we're going to be going over some basic Dazzler gameplay, showing off some of her key strengths and key defenders that she is very prominent against. And I'm doing this today because I know a lot of people received Dazzler if you purchased the Platinum Pass and did not buy any boosters for her. I know a lot of Alliance mates of mine received her today, so I'm going to be showing off some of my favorite fights that I've taken with Dazzler, taken from the big Dazzler showcase I've already uploaded. So after you see this one, if you want to see about 5 times the Dazzler content, I have like a 50-minute Dazzler showcase already up that you guys might be interested in. But we're going to start today against this Dust. All of these BG's fights were recorded from the meta where it was Mighty Charge and the node that made them go unstoppable if you hit their block. So you can't ever hit their block unless you're Dazzler, who has the stun. Not against Dust because she's going to glance it, but anyway. This fight's really fun for Dazzler. You can just dash into her special ones like that and counter them super easily. And you guys know that Dust is a very prominent defender in the Mutant class, so killing her in 44 seconds with almost full health is really, really strong. Now we're fighting another extremely prominent defender in the Mutant class, of course that being Onslaught himself. And she is super, super good for him. Dazzler, as you know, ramps tempo throughout the fight, and the tempo is what makes your SP2 hit harder. You want as much of it as possible to have the biggest SP2 possible, and every time Dazzler dodges an attack during the opponent's special attack, she's going to gain an additional tempo. And look at that, Dazzler is one of the champs who can just dash into Onslaught's special one like that, assuming you don't have a Neuro Shock on you, and then counter it super easily. Just don't have a Neuro, which she doesn't hit crit that extremely often on basic attacks, so that is going to reduce the amount of chances that you have of getting a Neuro Shock on you during those basics. And then we're gonna go for the special 2 here, and Onslaught's just down in about 51 seconds with really nice health, and that's one of my favorite Onslaught takedowns I've ever had with any champion. Now we're moving on to fighting Iron Man Infinity War. Would you believe that Dazzler can fight Iron Man Infinity War? Maybe not, but you're going to see that she does it pretty well. We do need to try to watch the armors a bit, make sure we're not pushing him to 4 of them, because then he's going to auto-block, of course. And I can't hit his block unless I have the Dazzling Dash, obviously, because then he's going to go unstoppable. But I've taken 5, technically 6 different tech defenders with Dazzler. It's just really funny to see her do them, just with the amount of damage that she has. It's not even like the most difficult thing for her, just because her damage is so good. So we're gonna get him in the corner, drop some heavy attacks. We have almost max tempo. Looks like I am going for max tempo. And look, it's another champion that she can counter the special of that would normally be uncounterable. Super, super cool. Love to see that. That's one of my favorite fights that I've ever done with her. Obviously, most of the fights, if we're shortening this 51-minute showcase to an 11-minute showcase, you are going to see my personal favorites. But anyway, we're moving on to fight Enchantress now. And let's be real, she doesn't have any specific utilities of fighting Enchantress. The specific utility that you could consider being a good Enchantress counter tool is just the fact that she kills Enchantress super fast, because she kills everything super fast. So what's going to happen is, once we remove the initial set of spells, I believe I kill Enchantress before she goes for another SP1. That might be untrue. I might actually go and let Enchantress drop another SP1. I don't remember, but either way, you can kind of just race to your SP2 after your SP1, and then the fight's virtually over. And it looks like I am just going to anti-bait, and then if I get a parry right there, the fight is just over. So I know Enchantress tends to drop SP1s into your block sometimes, which, again, you can also use that Dazzling Dash attack to counter it if you wanted to. So really nice Enchantress takedown, and she had some pretty annoying AI at the start of the fight, if I'm being honest. Didn't want to throw a heavy attack. I did get a little lucky that she didn't ever trigger the miss spell, but still, it was a pretty clean fight. So now we're going to fight Photon. This is another fight that I think really shows off Dazzler's utility very well, and that is the fact that she doesn't have the Dexterity Mastery. She just dodges attacks. It's really, really cool. It means that she's never going to gain a Dex buff, so she's really good for buffet nodes, and it means that she can just Dex Photon specials just like that. As you can see, I can't touch this. So the only con for Dazzler versus Photon is Photon just resists so much damage, because that's just Photon inherently. She maximizes the Inequity Mastery very easily because you're getting so many debuffs on you by hitting her, and she also has 30% base energy resist, which not only is going to hit Dazzler's special attacks in general, but the resonance buff that she's going to get on her SP2. This is reduced quite a bit by the energy vulnerability, of course, but it doesn't completely even everything out. And at that point, you still have to deal with Inequity, just reducing your attack rating by a lot. So you're going to see that after we drop the SP2, this is going to be the first SP2 you're seeing from Dazzler that didn't just kill the opponent. We also got relatively bad crit RNG there, if I do say so myself. But Photon's going to go down, and I do think she's a very solid Photon counter, just not one of the faster options, but a very, very safe option. And sometimes that's just what's more important, right? Now we're going to fight another really meta defender, and that is Maestro. This is in Alliance War, actually, so we're not fighting him in BGs. I have a BGs fight versus Maestro, but I ended up eating a special one, and it didn't look that clean, but this fight looks pretty nice. This also has more health than a BGs Maestro would, because of the mini-boss node it is on. This is Power Snack. It also has a Power Sting node, and Power Snack doesn't matter because Dazzler is Nullify immune, which is super, super cool and helpful. So we're going to go for an SP1 right here, and then the only annoying thing in this fight is that if you Dazzling Dash into Maestro's block, you are not going to inflict the stun. It will get glanced, but Dazzler doesn't really care about glancing on basics for any other reason. So we're going to go for the SP2 here without max tempo. And it is not going to kill him because, again, this is a larger health pool than a normal BG's fight. So we are going to take some radiation damage. We are going to make the fight last a bit longer than it should. But if I was boosted like it was an in-season fight, he'd be dead. This was an off-season fight that I'm taking here. So yeah, we are going to take some health at the end. So I hope you guys do recognize that she's very good for Maestro. It's just a little bit annoying that we didn't have the exact damage we needed to kill like it would be for a BG's fight, or if we were boosted in in-season war like we normally would be. So he goes down very easily. And one more thing I want to address about that fight, you might have seen me spam heavies in the corner there, which I don't necessarily do that often in Alliance War because of Stand Your Ground. Guess what? She turns Stand Your Ground off, which is super, super cool. So now we're going to fight an Onslaught on Node 41. This is an in-season war fight, so I am boosted properly. It's also worth mentioning that Dazzler is going to be a tactic attacker next season. She could catch bans potentially. I'm not exactly sure if she will or if she won't. I'm kind of expecting her to, but only time will tell. There's so many war updates that are coming soon with the map changing and a brand new tactic and stuff like that. So we are rooted here, which is kind of unfortunate, but we don't have any neuros on us, so I can just safely go for the dash attack at the end there, and then dash attack here as well, which it depends on the exact timing of when Onslaught throws a special on this node. Most of the time you're going to get rooted if he drops that SP1. Sometimes if he drops like immediately after you hit him, you're not going to get rooted, but it is pretty frequent, so the fact that Dazzler can avoid that is super nice. And then we go for the SP2 right there, and that was like 300,000 damage and overkill, maybe even more than that. Like, we barely got to see any of the full damage there. So imagine if that was like a rank 4 Onslaught from a different alliance. That would just be completely dead right there, which would have been really, really cool. And then my last fight in this video is going to be against the Autumn of Agony Heimdall boss. Again, if you want to see more Dazzler content, I have you covered. We have a massive showcase on the channel that you might be interested in seeing if you want to learn more about this character and where she has strengths. But for now, we're going to show this Heimdall fight, and then I'm going to sign off. Really cool for this fight, just with the sheer amount of damage that she has. Damage is just Dazzler's biggest utility, if I'm being honest with you. She has so many other utilities as well, like the immunities to nullify, the dashing dash attack itself, the dex replacement, and I didn't even talk about her sig ability, where she resists all physical damage when striking the opponent. You use this against Korg, Killmonger, and Atuma. So she just completely ignores all of their thorns damage that they cause when she is awakened at Sig 1, and then the higher the Sig you have, the more damage you reflect. You don't need any Sigs to completely counter it. The Sigs that you will give to her are going to add to the reflection damage. So the last part of her Sig ability, which is obviously very cool as well, is the pursuit that she gets, which is mainly a countering bullseye. She is going to be a pretty good bullseye counter if you can give her a decent amount of Sigs. I wouldn't be taking bullseyes consistently unless you had a high Sig Dazzler, but if you have the ability of doing that, highly recommend give her some Sig Stones and use her for bullseye. She is a blast. So, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Do tell me if you enjoy playing your hopefully newfound Dazzler. Again, I'm in love with this champion, and I hope you guys are as well. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.